All right, guys, this is day 59 of the Squat Every Day, and this week I'm kind of taking some time to mix in some new squat variations. I'll still be front squatting and back squatting for the majority of the time, but I'm just kind of playing around with what feels good. I definitely want to address certain things in my training. Obviously just making sure my positions, like my upright positions on my back, and then also trying to address some of the sticking points that I have specifically like above parallel. But nonetheless, I started today with just safety bar squat. I'm on the platforms there just because the rig that I'm in, those safety racks, there's kind of like one place to put them, and I wanted to make sure I was getting full depth, so I had to kind of elevate myself to do that. So we can see here the safety bar is great for a couple things, like if somebody cannot get in a certain position like a front squat, whether shoulder mobility, what the safety bar squat does is it allows them to get the same kind of vertical loading and quad loading because the weight is shifted anteriorly towards the front without having to put strain on the wrist or the shoulders. So when I was working college sports, we did this a lot with like baseball throwers or sport throwers, just because the risk reward of like popping a wrist or getting injured wasn't there, yet we still wanted to train that. Another benefit of the safety bar squat is that it can help increase like thoracic extension and thoracic stability, just because it's kind of an odd bar on your back. And then also some anterior core strength, just because it is front loaded. But because you're not kind of able to lock your back in as much as say a back squat, it really forces you to get that tension. And that's something that I've also been struggling with, was getting that. So I was experimenting with this today, see how this would feel. Ended up working up to a single at 370 pounds. So not like great, but not bad. And I'll be honest, this week's been kind of tough with dieting and cutting, and I'm just feeling low energy and not a lot of strength there. But nonetheless, that's what that was. And then afterwards, what you see here is I started, just wanted to see, I was kind of playing around with the idea of maybe doing some reverse band squatting, which is where I have the bands from the top. And when you reverse band squat, what you'll see here in a little bit after this one, so this is my 370 here. It wasn't bad, wasn't great. I got there, got a little stuck at the bottom there, but drove through. So that was 370. And then my top attempt here, my next attempt, which was 380, just didn't hit it. Definitely just lost tension at the bottom, and that's why I'm on the safety rack, for just in case. Kind of just couldn't get that sticking point. So from here, I ended up breaking the bar down and putting the bands on there. So you can see here, I got the bands there, so they're slack on top. They're probably dropping off, let's call it maybe 50 to 60 pounds at the bottom or so, but it's not an exact science. Really what I'm looking for here is being able to catch that bounce, and then at the bottom, it's, I pick up the bands, so I decrease the loading at the end range. And then as I reverse out of it and go into concentric, it overloads the movement, so it gets more weight close to the bar weight at the top. You see there's no tension here. So I'm really having to accelerate through the whole concentric phase. And then it's also overloading the areas at the top of the squat, which are areas that I really, I get stuck at usually. So I'm using a weight here that I can get assistance through the area that, like a regular squat, I might get stuck there. And then I'm able to really power through and get that strength through that sticking point. So I ended up here just working up to like some triples and doubles, just kind of feeling everything felt out here, and ended up with like 410 for a double with the bands. But after concluding this, I think what I'm going to do, and like I said, this week was really just about exploring, and the reason I'm kind of doing more conjugated style for this next cycle is just to add some variation in. Make sure I don't get too much staleness going on there. Add some new stimulus, but I'm still going to be back squatting and front squatting, each about 1 or 2 times a week, kind of varying on the week. But really, it was just to kind of see how things felt. And but what I'm going to do going forward for this day, instead of doing this because my main goal is I want to address just positional strength at the bottom and sticking point strength, is I'm actually going to do a safety bar squat from the bottom up, so an Anderson squat. So that's what I'm going to be doing here the second day of the week in the new program. So the next time, in a week from now when you see this post, I'm actually not going to be using the bands or anything, but I'll be going from the bottom. And I'll talk all about why I decided to do the Anderson squat, even though I'm horrible at them, which is probably why I need to do them. But I'll go through that and why I chose that and the benefits of that in the next one. So make sure you guys comment below. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks.